Hello, everyone. Welcome to Tokyo Talk. I'm Mai, and today's word is concoct.
And I'm Jack. I'm so excited to dive into this versatile and expressive verb with all of you today.
To concoct means to make or create something by combining different ingredients or elements, especially in cooking or when making up a story.
Exactly. The word has a fascinating etymology. It comes from Latin concoctus, meaning cooked together or digested. It originally had more to do with cooking than creativity.
When Jack mentioned etymology, he's talking about the origin and historical development of a word. Now, let's look at how we use concoct in cooking contexts.
I love to concoct new recipes when I have friends over. Last week, I concocted an amazing fusion dish, combining Japanese and Italian flavors. That was a huge hit.
That sounds delicious. In traditional Japanese cuisine, chefs carefully concoct special sauces and broths that can take days to perfect, like the complex dashi used in many dishes.
But concoct isn't just for food. It often carries a slight implication of inventiveness or even deception. Like when I had to concoct an elaborate excuse for missing my favorite idol group's concert.
Jack used the word elaborate, which means detailed and complicated. And you're right about that implication. When someone concocts a story, it often suggests they're making something up.
Absolutely. In business, I've seen colleagues concoct complex strategies to impress bosses. The negative connotation comes through when the plan seems artificially complicated or dishonest.
Let's look at some synonyms for concoct. Words like invent, devise, formulate, and create are similar, but each has different nuances. Shall we compare them?
Great idea. Let's start with invent. To invent something means to create something entirely new that didn't exist before, like when Edison invented the light bulb.
While concoct involves combining existing elements in a new way. A chef doesn't invent sugar or flour, but concocts a recipe by combining ingredients creatively.
Next, let's compare concoct with devise. To devise something usually means to plan or create a method or procedure, often to solve a problem. It's more strategic and purposeful.
Right. If you devise a plan to learn English, it sounds methodical. If you concoct a plan, it might suggest something more creative, possibly even sneaky or dishonest.
Now for formulate, which is more precise and scientific. Chemists formulate medicines through exact processes. Concoct suggests more improvisation and creativity.
A perfect example would be traditional Japanese miso. Artisans don't just formulate it with precise measurements. They concoct special varieties using intuition and generational knowledge.
Finally, create is the broadest term. Artists create paintings, engineers create bridges. It's neutral and doesn't carry the potential negative connotations that concoct sometimes does.
That's a great point. When we talk about a master chef, we might say they created a signature dish. It sounds respectful. Saying they concocted it might imply experimentation or mystery.
What about antonyms for concoct? Words like analyze, separate, or dismantle represent opposite actions, breaking something down rather than putting elements together.
That's right. Let's review what we've covered about concoct. Jack, could you highlight some key expressions we've discussed?
To concoct a recipe, creating a new dish by combining ingredients. To concoct a story, making up something that isn't entirely true. To concoct an excuse, creating an explanation that might be dishonest.
When Jack talks about concocting a recipe, it means creating a new recipe by combining different ingredients. This is the most positive use of the word, showing creativity and skill.
Scientists concoct theories to explain phenomena. Marketers concoct campaigns to sell products. Notice how the context shifts the nuance from neutral to potentially suspicious.
The sentence, scientists concoct theories, might suggest their theories aren't well-founded. Compare that with scientists develop theories, which sounds more rigorous and respectable.
Time for our quiz section. Let's see if we can test what everyone's learned about concoct today.
That's right. We have 2 simple questions to help you practice using concoct in different contexts. Let's begin with the first question.